This is the Event Tech Live 2018 Brand and Buzz stage. My name is Miguel Neves, and I am hosting the stage. If you've been here before in any of the other stages, you'll know we are using Slido to get some questions from the audience, to get that interaction. I won't ask you to do any polls or anything right now, but when you do want to ask any questions, what you have to do is go to slido.com, so slido.com, and then type in ETL18 and select this stage. And there will be some polls coming up during this session, so please do answer those polls and ask questions at any point during the session. At the end of the session, we'll take some questions. We'll take some few minutes to do the questions. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Laurence Croneen, who has lots of experience producing events and experiences for brands on every corner of the globe. He's led multinational agencies, and he is the founder of Deeper Blue. Laurence is going to be talking about are brands doing their best, which is excellent. I love a session that starts with a question. So, Laurence, over to you. Are brands doing their best?
Who knows? Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me all right? Yeah, great. So the guys from Event Tech Live chose this title for me, and I'm afraid I don't like it, so I'm going to change it. So I would rather talk about, are we doing our best for brands? And I just thought it'd be quite useful to have a quick poll here. Anybody who's been in the events industry or the experiential industry, how do you feel we're doing? Do you feel that we are serving the brands that we work for as best we can? So just give me a yes or a no, and we can just take a quick look at that. So do you feel we're doing the best we can for our brands? Is that it? Tell me when we're... Can we just go back? There we go. So where we go. Interesting, 60% say no, we're not doing the best for our brands, and 40% say yes. So on the whole, we all feel that we've got some opportunities to improve. Can we just go back to the slides here? Because I tend to agree with you. I think over the last 20 years, we've done pretty well with brands. I think we've served them well as far as events and experiences are concerned. But going forward, I think there's a lot more that we could and should be doing. I think what our customers and our brands and our clients are looking for are events that are truly immersive. And whether or not we're at that stage now where we can really offer immersive events, I think there's more to do. There's no doubt that our customers and our clients are wanting events to be more connected. And out here we're seeing lots of digital capabilities to be connected. But that's not just what connected is about. Connected is also about making sure the messages and the strategy that we embrace are also connected as well, making it much more integrated as a communication platform. And also, I think there's an opportunity for us to be more disruptive. And when I talk about disruptive, I'm talking about this in a much more positive sense. How can we break through the clutter and the chatter and the noise that all of our customers, our brands that we work for, are emanating? So those three things, I think, are areas that we could and should improve on going forward. So why is this important? What's really happening right now? Well, look, I'm going to show you a scary picture. Millennials. Quite a few in the audience here, I think. Millennials are people who were born between the mid-1990s and the mid-2000s. And these are the people who are truly right now driving the trends of the future. Why is this important to us? Because in 2 years' time, they will represent 50% of the global workforce. Now that global workforce, to be honest, is driven primarily through India and China and some of the really fast developing countries right now. But by 2025, in Europe, millennials will represent 75% of the workforce. So we better start thinking about what they need and what they require going forward, because they will be our future audiences that we need to champion. What they do is they send out and emit and really transform many of the trends that are today's trends and tomorrow's trends. They are very much influencing the technology that we use. They're absolutely dominating how we think about how we work and how we communicate. So they are a tremendously influential group. More importantly than that, that they're also adding things and taking things away. I don't know about you, but I find it very difficult when I go into a meeting and I never know really whether to handshake, fist pump, or to do what we're doing here, which is a bit of bromance. Because it's now elevated. You know, to have two political leaders embracing each other, this didn't happen a few years ago. These are guys who some brands are doing really well with. Some brands are really tapping into them extremely well. Adidas is one. If you go onto Instagram, they're doing some amazing things on Instagram. They're running 5K runs in communities around London. I don't know how many of you have been just circling the area here. 152 Brick Lane is the Adidas fitness studio. Have you been to that at all? No? It's a female-only, free-of-charge studio, open 5 days a week, where you can go in, you can go and see and meet some really great instructors, you can go and have lessons from them, you can have craft sessions, which I know sound weird, but it's really interesting. And guess what? Subliminally, you can buy and test the Adidas equipment. This is the way brands should be connecting, and Adidas are doing it really, really well. So as far as all of this for our industry is concerned, we need to make sure we're relevant. So when you said 60% are not happy with the way in which we're looking after our brands right now, well, quite right. I think we need to make sure that we are truly relevant as agencies. I think we need to make sure that we truly provide communication that empowers people to take action, empowers people to do something with the communication that we're doing and offering them. And finally, the good news for all of us is experiences will continue to be really, really important. I don't know whether you knew, but I think over 70% of millennials would rather go to experiences than buy a material item. So experiences will be incredibly useful for all of us in the future, because thank goodness it means that we're all in a job. So millennials, technology, the future, brands, we're circling in an area that I think is quite interesting. How many of you know about the Museum of the Future in Dubai? No? I don't know at the moment whether it's called a museum or a museum, but we'll go with the hybrid of the two. Dubai has spent $95 million creating this. It's an incubation and innovation laboratory. Every 6 months, they will update what's happening inside it. And basically, they're inviting people in to come and design the future. They're coming to see the future, but they're also coming to design the future. It will be open this time next year. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of a view of what sort of experiences might be we all forging in the future. What sort of experiences should we be thinking about? So have a look at this. Okay, so if any of you have got clients you're thinking of, I'm certainly not a sales rep for this, but if you've got clients, you've got some interesting incentives coming up, you want to take them somewhere new where they can really think about the future, this could be a really interesting opportunity. So all of this stuff that's going on right now, what are we doing as a small little boutique agency? Well, Working with other partner agencies, we worked on a really interesting program last year that I thought I'd tell you about for LG, introducing nanocell technology. Does anybody know what nanocell technology is? Okay, it's a very simple technology that basically means you have a wider viewing angle. Now, why is this important? Well, it's being driven in the television market right now, but soon it'll come available on these. And all it means is that as people share more and more content, you can do that. And you can see from a 60-degree angle the content on a phone. So it's really useful technology with regards to where we're going to in the future against the conventional television screen. What we had to do was to bring this to life. So we created a viral campaign using two footballers, Adam Lallana and Steven Gerrard. And the whole thing was called the NanoCell Supermatch. It was a really simple, straightforward program. So on this side here was the conventional TV, and I think we got Steven Gerrard, who was taking shots to try and hit the ball and get as many points as he could from an angle where he couldn't quite see the screen. On the other side, Adam Lallana was doing the same using nanocell technology. So very straightforward. It wasn't that straightforward because, as you can see here, there was an awful lot to think about in terms of the filming and what we created. The most important thing here, other than a great creative idea, was who was our primary audience. And our primary audience were these three groups here, two individuals and a group of three as well. Just a quick poll here. Have a quick look at them. Do you know who they are? It's a simple yes or no. If you could just vote, and then we'll know for sure. Is that it? Are all answers in? Everyone done their answer? Okay, it's 100% no. Okay. Has anybody heard of the term influencer? Okay, so let's just go back to the slides here, Adam. Okay, so our primary audience is three people who you've never heard of, and I'll show you some statistics underneath these three. Ali A, 15 million subscribers, total views to date 4 billion. His average ad revenue on a daily basis is anywhere between 2K and 17K. An influencer? Yeah, could be quite useful. Chris MD, 4.2 million subscribers, nearly 500 million viewers, and annual daily ad revenue of 3K. And Free Kickers are much more football oriented. So they're three guys who are really tremendously important in the footballing world. 7.1 million subscribers, 1.8 billion total views, and quite a good daily ad revenue. These guys, when we talk about brands and we talk about making sure something goes viral, these are the guys you need to know. So using these as our primary audience, I'll show you what one guy did. I think he's based out in Canada. So we flew him over. He was part of the crowd that saw the match. And then he went off and did this. And what's really interesting is he's in his room. You can even see his bed he's just made in the background, versus what I hope will be quite an interesting, well put together film that we created. So have a look at this.
This random video is obviously a paid promotion, and it's actually by the company known as LG. Life's good. And honestly, I've never had a big company like this reach out to me, so I'm pretty honored to do it. And let me know how I do with my commercial skills. The benefits of this new TV: accurate and rich colors from any angle. And obviously this equals consistent picture quality at every angle. And finally, of course, you're gonna find precise, richer colors in this LG NanoCell TV. And if you don't trust me, well, check the links below. How'd I do, man? That's a pretty good commercial, I think. Enjoy this clip.
And it was a lot of fun to compete out there on a special field.
I've never participated in anything like that before.
Okay, so that was the film, and that was one of the influencers or the vloggers talking about it beforehand. So a really interesting program. Within a very short period of time, just to give you an understanding of the sort of reach that we generated. Overall, we've had 100 million views of the video that we showed. 100 million views. There's been over 4 million interactions. And we topped the Ad Age viral chart for 2 weeks. Sales of the nano cell TV has gone up by 33%. And all this happened in a very short period of time. So when we're talking about brands and what we're doing for brands, and how to make sure that we're really tapping into some of the ways that I think extend brand reach, these are some of the ways that we should be thinking about it. And to be honest, I have to say a year ago, I was unaware of just how important these people and these processes. But for us, that's just one way of looking at life. When you take everything else that I've just been chatting through over the last 20 minutes and say, well, okay, what does this mean for the more conventional world that we're in? What does that mean for our corporate clients? I just want to share with you something that we're doing right now. We're 10 months in, around about a 5-year program, and it's for Toyota. We're actually taking 10,000 of their retail managers, so the people who you would interact with when you go in to purchase a car, and we're taking them on a journey to become managers of tomorrow, to really understand the mindset that they need to take on board to drive the needs and requirements that we all have for mobility in the future, not just cars, but mobility. We'll be looking and introducing ourselves and touching 2,500 retailers around Europe. It'll be going for 3+ years, and I think over that period of time, ultimately, we will touch and influence over 100,000 employees. So it's a big program. And around the outside here, you can see some of the things that we've already been doing to start the process of engagement and getting people to understand what the hell this is all about. The next slide, and again, I can't give too much away, so I apologize that it's not the most engaging of slides, but these are just a couple of things that we're doing to truly make sure that this program is immersive, that it's connected, and it's disruptive. This immersive side here, we are working with a company right now that is basically creating a digital environment where you can trial and become a company of the future. And it's almost like an ability to be a startup of the future, if you like. And so over a 5-day period, 2 hours every day, they can spend immersing themselves in this new world where they can fully understand everything they're learning on their journey through and try to understand and use that to become an automotive company or a retailer of the future. So it's a very interesting concept, very new. We haven't quite worked it out fully yet, but this is now using technology that we're seeing here and really applying it to the corporate world. In the middle, slightly more humdrum, but fairly straightforward, is what we're calling Brit Space. It's a place where you can go to where everything that you are taught, all the tools, everything is in one place, linked to a learning management system. A very sophisticated but easy to access a portal, if you like, where you can upload and download and see your performance. And on the far left-hand side here, we're borrowing something from the whole festival world, which is actually a sharing device. It's created by a company called Amondo, and they are absolutely going wildfire in the festival world right now, and indeed in Formula One and across sporting activities, where they've created an app that you can basically use, which brings together all social media connections, and you can upload and download to that. And it's basically a really interesting space that we're now converting for the corporate world. So again, as we take people through a 5-day immersion, they can connect to each other and keep the conversation going. So as I said, these are just a couple of things that we're introducing, but in my view, these are the sorts of things that we need to be doing as agencies to make ourselves truly immersive, to make ourselves a bit more disruptive, but also a bit more connected. So that's been a quick race through the world of millennials, a little bit of technology, the world of influencers, and how we're using some of that to drive the more conventional corporate world. I hate the word conventional because it shouldn't be. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you got something out of it. Thank you. Yeah.
Audience, yes. Some questions for you. They're on the screen there. You can start with whatever one you wish.
Yeah, I'll start, yes.
Yeah, over to you.
I think in terms of effective disruption, I do a lot of work in the automotive world where you're constantly getting disruptors coming in, and everyone talks about Uber as an example. Now, Uber is a fantastic and effective disruptor. How many of you know about a couple of the trials that Uber are doing right now? Uber helicopters, do you know about those? Yeah? So at the moment they're trialing helicopters that literally will live on top of the high-rise buildings, and then they're not really helicopters, will then take you to where you need to be in a much more effective way than current travel. So Uber is one I would say to watch out for. It's disrupted the world as we know it. London taxi drivers have been truly disrupted. I think we're only seeing the very edge of it right now. And in Japan, Toyota, who's a major client of ours, have just invested $500 million, I think, in making sure that they connect with Uber, and that's part of their whole sort of R&D program of the future. So I'm sure we can all think of great disruptors. I love Amazon. I think it's an amazing disruptor. I love what they're doing in Whole Foods. And again, Whole Foods, we're just seeing the beginning of massive disruption in that retail world as well. So there's some really positive disruptors, but watch Uber. They're a very interesting organization.
Remember, you can still ask questions on Slido, or you can vote for the questions that you want to see more. How about, what if you have a limited budget? Is it possible to innovate or disrupt?
Difficult to answer. I think it depends what you're trying to disrupt and where you're going to go into. I think what I would say to answer this, and it comes back to the original question we discussed about whether or not we were satisfied with what we are doing with brands. I would love to sort of turn this around to all of us and say, think of what we can be doing, either with all of the innovations that you've seen today, or some of the innovations that we touch and embrace on a personal level. What can we be doing to elevate some of these and use these in the corporate world? And I think there's more that we could all be doing, and they don't cost a lot. It's more about properly thinking it through. And what I would say is anybody who's in the agency world, spend more time talking to startup organizations. Some startup organizations are desperate to gain access into our world. They've got some really good ideas. They need a helping hand. They need a leg up. And if we could actually access some of their thinking, bring it into our world, and give them some money in return to really sort of supply them with a bit of energy and a bit of investment to go forward, we could do a lot worse. So I'd love to turn this question around to us and see what we can do.
Final question. Your presentation was partially about online influencers.
Yeah.
So how do you determine when is it right to use influencers?
Have a really smart PR agency that you have access to. I certainly don't have the answers. There are some real experts out there with their finger on the pulse who know all the influencers, category by category, and make sure that you've got the right person who really can give you access into those people. And also, if you are using good influencers, do look after them. The 100 influencers that we involved who came to Farnborough, you wouldn't believe how well we looked after them. They were given red star or red carpet treatment. They all went away with a nano cell TV, quite a big one. They were all flown a pretty good class on the plane when they came over. So all I would say is, even if you get access to the right ones, these guys are celebrities. the mere fact that we didn't know the three of them there, they're celebrities, and we need to wake up to that and look after them.
There's another question came in just now. How is your organization effectively working with millennials to improve working practice and the solutions you offer your clients?
Okay. Just so I got it, who is a millennial in the audience here? Okay, so we've got quite a few. My organization is quite a small organization. Over 50% of our workforce are millennials. And we truly embrace that. We had a fantastic day the other day where one of the team just celebrated being recognized as one of the top 30 event professionals under 30 years old. So we were delighted with that. And all I would say is millennials bring a huge amount of interesting thinking into any organization. But we, as the oldies, also need to be spending significant time making sure that we make the most of that and molding them in the right way as well. So they're incredibly important, and we'll continue to invest in that level of employee going forward, because they are the future.
Thank you very much. I think that's all we have time for.
Great.
Laurence, once again, thank you for your session.
Thank you.